And here we are, the final Red Colony game of the trilogy. This third and final game was, as usual, developed by Run Shimotsuji Storm and released by Shoryuken Shinuden for the Nintendo Switch in 2022. Later, an uncensored version was released for PC, and finally this trilogy was released in physical form for the Nintendo Switch in 2023 thanks to PlayAsia and East Asia Soft. This time around you play as her. Yes, this is Mina, an android that went to the Blue Colony on a mission. That mission being bringing zombies and dinosaurs, or at least their DNA, to Planet X for the Queen so they can display those in their museum. Planet X is a planet that acts like a moon around Saturn, also called Titan, which actually is one of Saturn's moons. But that will not work as expected at all, and now even Planet X suffers the same fate as the Red and Blue colonies. At the end of Red Colony 2, we see Mina flying towards Titan, and the Queen confronts her on who else is on the ship that shouldn't be there. At that point, Mina has no idea what she was talking about. But once landed, Mina, since she is an android, essentially gets turned off because of that mysterious passenger and only wakes up again 100 years later with the help of Leon. Yes, Nicole's son. Mina's goal now is to turn into a Titanian, essentially a human, fleeing from authorities because she is blamed for the Queen's death, hence why the wanted posters even exist, and find Leon's real body so she can transfer his soul into it. You know, because Leon's soul has been inside Mina's body for a very long time and he is sick of it. Throughout the game you will see this chick named Julie, or July, however you want to pronounce it, that already has turned into a Titanian, and now she has the goal to find love, and what a coinkydink, Leon is the one she wants. So yeah, there will be a battle between Mina and Julie for Leon. Oh, there is way more than that. Dr. J, that we knew from the first game, will play a major role again, especially because of the ending. You will play as Julie for a while as well. There is kind of a robotic beast that never really gets explained, but I guess Dr. J had something to do with it. Leon himself will keep you guessing if he ultimately cares for any of these women and more stuff alongside having to fight zombies, raptors and now even androids. Red Colony, just like the previous game, also has two endings. Which one is supposed to be the real ending? Well, you decide, but the trilogy technically has a definitive finish. I mean, technically everybody dies either way, but it's just a matter on how and what dialogue results from which ending. You know, just like the previous two games did. But one of the endings will have a surprise cameo, so keep that in mind if you wanna see that. I mean, how can you even have a good ending in a zombie apocalypse? It's kind of a hard thing to do right, because technically everybody always dies no matter if we see it or not. I mean, how do you get rid of a zombie apocalypse for good? Therefore, the actual apocalypse, while a driving factor, is not the main aspect of the trilogy. It's more about the story behind the apocalypse, or what it started, and the relationship between the characters, and it actually works quite well, especially for the short length of 2 to maybe 3 hours per game in the very low budget realm. Now, I have no idea if she is just a mascot or whoever this is supposed to be. I also have no idea what this robot is all about, but since it will help you once and otherwise actually never harm you, I assume this was a robot controlled by Dr. J, but I am not sure. I come to that conclusion because of Mina herself. Play the game to see what I'm talking about, I just don't want to spoil too much. The story in the trilogy stacks quite well on top of one another. Sure, it's not perfect by any means, but it does a good job at telling the story from 3 different perspectives. Well, 4 if you count Julie. You know, in Red Colony you have the start of the apocalypse with a vague idea of what caused all of it. In Red Colony 2 the story and background gets expanded with added raptors, and in Red Colony 3 you get the conclusion and who or what wanted this to happen. Well, until shit got out of hand, even on Titan. I think that each game, story-wise at least, ties in well to one another, but then again, what the hell do I know? The neon lights from the second game are not as prominent, but there are a few here and there with a nice city in the background. This third installment plays more with darker areas where you sometimes have to play with light bulbs so you don't have to fight enemies. Even these androids have to be killed by hitting their light areas, and because of that, it was important that you can actually control your aim better. In the previous games, you just had 3 points you could aim at, but here you have full control over it, and the laser helps you out aim better as well. But the whole atmosphere in this third game seems to be almost a mix of the first 2 games, and it works quite well as a result, probably making it my favorite of the 3. The game even reminds you of the previous games like here, and one of these 2 will appear again. This time even the developer will make fun of himself a bit. One thing I don't really like is your inventory system. I mean, it certainly has more style and I like how Mina is in the background, but moving the cursor like this is a bit of a pain. Often I have to search around for this damn cursor, and yes, it's annoying and a bit too convoluted. Sound does the same job as the previous game, so I don't need to repeat myself, but sadly there's no area like this where Nicole rocks it out. Instead there is this scene that I absolutely didn't expect at all. I mean, the game took itself rather seriously for the most part, and then I see some magical girl type stuff. It was rather goofy than anything else. After this scene I sat there for 5 minutes asking myself, what the hell did I just watch? While the game continues to have a few jump scares here and there, some simply aren't as effective. Especially this one was rather on the cheap side. As stated, the inventory menu is a bit annoying to navigate, but it looks cool. Your items are over here, information is over here, your weapons are here with the keycards, and you have even more costumes to wear. And each costume has its own HP. So if you are low on one, you can simply change to another that has more HP. That means you won't find any heal items at all here, and personally I think that was a nice idea and a better choice, because it gives you a reason to change costumes instead of the costumes being just aesthetic. But no, the costumes do not have effects. It would have been nice if they had though. However, this time around there's no bikini costume or anything more fanservice. Why not? But maybe the uncensored PC version has all of it, well, as usual. The ragdoll physics are obviously still present and haven't changed much. What has changed are the puzzles and the difficulty. So in here you don't even have a baseball bat, you only have your 3 guns. If you don't have any ammo, then it sucks to be you, but usually there is enough to survive. Only sometimes it's just wiser to hide under the table, destroy a light bulb to blind the zombies, or destroy this bulb to confuse the androids for a few seconds. Well, you could also just run towards the enemy and simply take a hit, because if you take a hit, you can go past your enemies. I just have no idea how Maria's knife could even get here, but maybe it's just a replica. Still, that was a very nice throwback. The puzzles are often these circle things, but as per usual, there is nothing too difficult about these. But at least many of the clues are hidden a bit better compared to the previous games, but still not too hard to find. Well, initially, I will admit, I had a kind of difficult time finding out how I unlock these saves, but it's actually not as hard as I made it out to be. The codes for these saves can be missable though, so pay attention if you want to be a completionist. But since the game is rather short, it's easy and quick to replay everything again. In the end though, I actually had fun with this trilogy. Sure, Maria, Nicole, Mina and Julie were kind of janky to control, but it's not too bad. The fan service is very nice and tits lives matter, even though the third game doesn't have as much, even on the PC version. And I still think that the physical trilogy collection should have had the uncensored PC versions instead. The horror itself is quite nice and the story is much better than I expected. You know, for games like these. In about 6 to maybe 7 hours you can beat all 3 games even to 100%, so if you don't have much time on your hands, this trilogy should be fine and fun to spend your time with.